Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Gooner Ramble. That's an Arsenal Fan TV podcast. With me tonight is regular James and the digital maestro behind the scenes, all the way from America. It's Rick. How you doing, mate?
Doing well.
Good stuff. James, you good?
Yeah, all good, thanks, mate. Just enjoying the lovely Mother's Day.
Good stuff. Yeah, I saw that painful video of you on Twitter with your mother.
I thought I'd stitch her up. She loves it.
Yeah, bet she does. By the way, Giles was going to host tonight, but he was knocked out spark cold on his kitchen floor by one of his mates. So, moving on. Yeah, West Ham, a very comfortable 3-0 win. What did you make of the lineup, James? Because obviously the obvious thing was that Theo was starting.
Yeah.
Monreal was there at left back, no rotation there. So, you know, not a lot of major controversy, but the main point of note was Theo starting rather than coming on sub.
Yeah, I thought it would be, you know, obviously the obvious changes of Ospina going back in goal. Quite surprised to see Theo starting, but at the same time, you know, Oxlade-Chamberlain's out injured, so it did sort of make sense. Chambers coming in at right back, for me, it was a mixed game for him. I thought going forward, you know, I thought Chambers was superb, but defending-wise, Jarvis just took him to town most of the game. I mean, when he was subbed, you could see he sort of breathed a sigh of relief. But as far as Walcott goes, yeah, you know, it's weird for me because people talk about, is it the contract negotiations? Is it this? Is it that? None of us really know. I mean, I've got my theory in it that it's just rustiness, really, which will, within time, improve. I mean, you can tell that he's still got the mind there. He's getting in the positions to, you know, have these chances, but he just needs to start slotting them away because, you know, I'm giving him some grace. I'm being quite friendly, but other fans were absolutely taking him to town yesterday on Twitter and other mediums, and, you know, people will go, why justify all this big money if you don't deliver? Which, you know, he wasn't yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, some people say, oh, you know, you can't say it's rusty forever, but a year is a very long time to be out. You know, that's what I think anyway. But then on the other side, people say, well, look how much training he's had. He's been in training every day for weeks and weeks, so he must be able to finish. You know, and he has scored already, hasn't he, in previous games? So, yeah, the excuses will start to wear a bit thin despite him being out for a year. So he's got to play a bit better in the next few games. But there was that really obvious one, wasn't there, right at the beginning, where he sort of dithered on the ball in the box, and he just had to shoot, didn't he? I don't understand why he waited so long. It was almost like he was trying to win a penalty, which is not like him really. You'd much rather score a goal. So I didn't really understand that. But even through the rest of the game, when he had some great through balls, he wanted to take a touch first, when I think he could have just hit it first time. And that, to me, is a sign of lack of confidence because, you know, the old Theo, if you like, pre-injury, wouldn't have hesitated. He would have just smacked that in. So he's obviously not feeling himself. And I think that's why he hasn't had the game so far. What did you make of it, Rick?
Very much the same thoughts you guys had. I mean, I was actually pleased to see Walcott in the lineup. I'd been waiting for him to, you know, get some game time to get some confidence back, but at the same time, you could see why he hasn't been thrown back into games. It's his indecisiveness, that extra touch he wanted to take when, you know, he used to just bury those. It was. I wasn't as nice as you guys were, I guess. I was pounding my hands on the bar, screaming, "For fuck's sake, Theo, shoot!" And it was quite eventful in the bar I was in, but it was all in good fun. We weren't really mad at Theo. It was just very frustrating to see him so indecisive, so I guess lacking in confidence to take those shots. It's obvious, I guess, why Wenger's being very cautious with him, bringing him back. The only other surprise in the lineup for me was seeing Chambers at right back. Not that that's tremendous, you know, not that that's a big surprise, but I think what surprised me is the acres of space he allowed Jarvis. I mean, oh my God. There was a couple times Jarvis got the ball and you couldn't even see Chambers in the frame. it was crazy. But he did look good going forward. But he just allowed too much space, I think, to Jarvis, and I guess that's another reason why we've been seeing a lot of Bellerin.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are. You can't really separate them sometimes. They both look like really promising right backs, but the difference at the moment is just that consistency, isn't it? Because Bellerin doesn't seem to have many bad moments in a game. One or two nervy mistakes in a whole 90 minutes, if that. Whereas Chambers, he can have longer periods of going missing. And obviously he's brilliant going forward, but he doesn't have the pace of Bellerin. So I think perhaps Bellerin was rested in preparation for Monaco, thinking, look, if we go there and give it absolutely everything, all the pace and all the crossing, then, maybe we've got a chance. Because you can't, even with that amount of pace and a young boy, you can't play him in every game. So I reckon that was probably why he was rotated.
I think that's probably why Cazorla was on the bench as well, to save him from Monaco.
It must have been, because he's been absolutely running things, and
absolutely.
when he came on, he was fantastic again. But the last person you want to get tired and lose form is Cazorla, because he's pulling all the strings. So it makes a lot of sense to rest him for a game that we probably always going to win. But Ramsey started as well, and he had a very good game in the end. Do you think he's getting back to somewhere near his best, James?
Yeah, especially after yesterday, definitely. Yeah, I mean, for me, he was man of the match for me. He was tackling, he was creating chances, he was involved in one of the goals as well, got an assist, and he took his so well as well. I mean, all the goals yesterday were three, fantastic team goals, and they're, the Wenger ball, as we like to call it, aren't they? That football that he stays up all day dreaming about. I was really impressed with Aaron Ramsey yesterday, and it's about time as well. It's another one where people, Arsenal fans, me included, we all at times like to have a scapegoat, and sometimes it's Ramsey's turn. It's been Szczesny's turn quite a bit. It's been Giroud's turn for God knows how long. So, it's nice that Ramsey's coming back and taking his chances.
Absolutely. But also I think, the man of the match is actually not that straightforward in that game, was it? Because so many people played well. Because Szczesny was great, Coquelin was great, Özil played well, and Giroud is the obvious contender, obvious rival to Ramsey, I suppose, because, he's got a goal and assist, and his all-round play was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was just
well
thinking...
taken goal as well from Giroud, the great hit.
Yeah, brilliant. And, after that I was just thinking, if there's haters out there that still don't rate Giroud, I mean, what's the guy got to do? Because that was a great display of what he's all about. Rick, it's all that link-up play in the box, the little dinks between defenders, the little back heels to Theo. His sort of layoffs and assists in the box are absolutely brilliant. When he's not scoring, he's setting people up fantastically well. And the times that he set people up, if they had scored, he could have had more assists. But that's what he was all about today, using his strength, winning the balls in the air, and just laying it on a plate for people.
Absolutely, and they don't always come off. I mean, much like Ramsey when he tries that stuff, if it doesn't come off, you're screaming at the screen, going, "What are you thinking?" But when it does work, it's brilliant. I mean, it disrupts the defense, it sends players through. It's really fantastic when it works out, and it's one of those traits that it took a while for the rest of the team to get used to. I think when Giroud first came over, his first season, a lot of times those balls were not falling to the feet of other teammates, I think, because they weren't expecting it. They didn't know what his game was about. And I think after a couple of years now, the rest of the team has figured out what he's about, and they'll make those runs, and he'll put it on their feet, and it really does work well. And it's an asset to his game that I think when we got him, nobody knew he had. I think it's been a surprise and a pleasant one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, on the subject of Giroud, I don't know if you saw Match of the Day, but Jermaine Penis was talking about the fact that Giroud combines really well with Ramsey. and he was saying that that those two combine so well, and if they both play together, there's going to be loads of goals. But the funny thing is that I was saying on the podcast about a month ago that when Giroud plays with Özil, they just seem to absolutely understand each other. And for me, that tells you that it almost doesn't matter who he's playing with. He just knows where people are going and understands their runs and combines brilliantly with all of them. Whoever's running in and around that box, he will find them. And the classic example is it can be Jack Wilshere in the Norwich goal, that famous Norwich goal. It was just between him and Jack, and it's just whoever goes near him, he's gonna. It was Theo for a while today, then it was Özil, then it was Ramsey. I don't think there's anything fantastically special between Giroud and Ramsey. It's just he's just a brilliant link-up player. Full stop. James.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the thing that I really like about Giroud, more so this season than others, is that, for starters, just look at the size of the man. He's using his body a bit more than what he was a few seasons back. He still has this tendency to lie on the floor and, look a bit silly at times. You're like, oh, just get up, mate. What are you playing at? But he's really sort of, getting stuck in a bit more and doing, the nitty-gritty work, really, of a centre forward of, like the early 90s type of centre forward. He's not going to be like a Diego Costa and grab people by the throat or punch them out of the way. But
he's too pretty for that, James. He's too pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got a bit of class. Yeah. But, I think Giroud this season, since he's come back, has he's been fantastic. But I think we'll get into it a bit more later. I've seen the questions in the box, but yeah. I like Giroud, and I hope he carries on his run. It's just, I think, even though he's done well in this game and previous games, the Tuesday night will probably define him again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't have a great game, the haters will come out again, won't they? But as long as you understand, what he is and what he isn't, he's never going to be someone with frightening pace, and he's not someone that's going to go around four players and score, but he just makes things happen in the box all the time. If he's not scoring himself, he's setting someone else up, and he's a focal point of the attack. And if people still can't understand that, then there's no hope for him, really. But Coquelin, I thought, also played well, and we've almost sort of come to expect it now. He's giving 8, 9s and 10s in every game, and we just almost take it for granted now. We're talking about it all the time. The first 5 games he came back, but now it's just standard, isn't it? He just almost never seems to put a foot wrong, and he played well again yesterday as well. Who else did you fancy in that game, Rick?
Well, like you, I think Coquelin played very well again, and it's been a bit of a surprise, as good as he's been. And I think it was early enough in the game, I think, when Chambers was getting caught out, either too narrow or too far up the pitch, and they broke down the left side, and somebody chased him down all the way back to our touchline. And I didn't even know who it was at the time, because we got a little chaos in the pub when we're watching games. But tackled, took care of the danger, stood up. I'm like, of course, it was Coquelin. He chased him all the way back past every defender into the corner, and it's just one of those things that we love to see, and he's been great. As far as other players that played well, I agree. Giroud was, things were coming off for Giroud. Ramsey played well. Özil played well. Bar that strange decision to lob the ball over the box when he should have shot.
What the hell was that about?
I don't know. It was baffling.
He's got a reputation to withhold, doesn't he? As the
he's got a lead in assists, I guess. Yeah.
I've always thought he should bury these more, but I don't know.
Absolutely.
So he is a right-footed player, isn't he?
No, I think he's lefty.
Might be a lefty.
Is he lefty?
I think so.
In which case, he's got no bloody excuse.
No excuse at all. Yeah.
I know a lot of players get into that position when they're slightly to the left, and they think, I've got to cut it back onto my right, but I haven't got time. I'll just square it to someone who's in the perfect position. But if he's left-footed, that is just bizarre, because
I think that's what he did against Man United, wasn't it? He had that chance and he passed it because he was on his right foot. He weren't confident enough. But no, he was on his. I think maybe he needs to get on the old Twitter or on the phone, speak to his mate who's on loan in Milan, and say to him, "Can you help me unleash these left foot beasts that you know how to do, Mr. Podolski, and help me out of it." Yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, we know he can hit a shot. He hit a really powerful one a few games ago. I can't remember who it was against, and then I think it was Walcott buried the rebound, wasn't it? So he can do it, and when he was in that position, I was just thinking, just fucking hit it. And even if it literally bounced straight off the keeper, there were 2 or 3 other strikers there who were running in, expecting the rebound. So, if it had come off the post or the bar, as long as it didn't go meekly into the keeper's hands, it would have created something. But to make that decision to sort of chip it slowly to the far post was just weird, because Theo's body shape was wrong to hit it first time, so he had to knock it back to Ramsey, and then it didn't come to Ramsey in a way that he could have hit it first time either, so he had to basically tee himself up by lifting it up in the air, and it was a decent effort in the end, but it shouldn't have gone round 15 players before we bloody got shot away.
Well, Theo was never going to win it in the air either, was he? It was a bit weird when he lifted it up. I was a bit like, well, I don't know who that's to, but okay, I'll go with it.
He could have, I suppose, tried to head it, couldn't he, Theo? Because it was. I think he ended up hitting him in the chest or something, didn't he? So he could have tried to head it, but he's just not. That is not his instinctive thing. He's never going to go for a header, is it? So he'd rather bring it down, set someone else up. But it was a bizarre decision.
Unbelievable. We were, again, another, bar pounding moment for the dozen people that were sitting at the bar with me.
Yeah.
Screaming.
But I thought apart from that, he had a good game, and I thought, I wasn't on the Man United podcast, so I have to say it here, but the against Man United, he looked really classy, I thought, just always in space, always wrong-footing the defenders, always putting great balls through. I thought that was a really good game for him, probably the best one he's had since he returned from injury.
He even got praise from, who was it? Man United player. Scholes, yes. He even got praise from Scholes. I mean, come on.
Well, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard.
He must have played a fantastic game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I thought he was very...
Sorry,
class against. I was just going to say he's very class against Man United, and he was good again against West Ham. And he just very little by little, his confidence is increasing bit by bit. So we could see him reach his best, before the end of the season, which would be handy.
Oh, very handy. I know I think the recent pods have been talking a lot about Özil. I know because I get to listen to every one of them, 4 of them this week. You guys are killing me. But anyway, talking a lot about Özil, but I haven't got to, say what I think. I got opinions on Özil as well, but it's mostly positive. I think a lot of people get down on Özil based upon his transfer fee. It's £42 million. He should be doing this. He should be doing that. Well, the 42 million was a negotiation between 2 clubs. That was not a negotiation with Mesut Ozil. He had nothing to do with that. So, if you're hung up on how much we paid for him, that's on you. That's on, fixating on how much he cost. That shouldn't be on Ozil. And also, he's very subtle. He's not demonstrative when he's running or doing things. He's very graceful. He's very subtle. And if people can't appreciate the intelligence in his game and the subtlety in his game, that just because he looks smooth doesn't mean he's not running fast, doesn't mean he's not trying. So if people are failing to recognize that, that's on them as well. But then Mesut does do himself a disservice when, a play breaks down or a pass doesn't come off. His body language and I think his mental thought process really, really goes in the tank, and he's not doing himself any favors by reacting like that. But I just think too many people get caught up in the money and they don't recognize his subtlety. And then of course he trumps that by reacting poorly to when, plays fall apart. He's a very, he's a character that, defies opinion, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on both points. It's kind of, the money thing shouldn't matter, but I must admit I'm guilty of it myself, when he gets onto the edge of the penalty area, and he squares the ball to somebody and he doesn't even hit it properly. It's like a 10-yard pass, and it just rolls towards them, and obviously gets intercepted by a defender. And I think, bloody hell, you're supposed to be one of the best passers in the game, and you haven't even passed with enough venom to get 10 yards.
Yeah.
And I sort of think 42 fucking million, you can't even pass sideways. I'm the one screaming it, and it's just, you're right. I mean, logically, it doesn't make sense.
Right. It's just out of frustration we say those things.
It's just that, that if you add up the number of players on the planet that actually cost 42 million and above, you can count them on the fingers of one hand. So that, in terms of financial only figures, he must be one of the top 6 players in the world, 5 or 6 players in the world. So therefore, why can't he fucking pass sideways? So that's how the logic works, even though it actually isn't the most intelligent way of thinking about it.
Sometimes money doesn't mean everything, though. Somebody paid $50 million for Andy Carroll and $50 million for Fernando Torres. So
that's right. And
money don't mean anything.
What was it? 70 million for Di Maria, who dived like a twat, got a yellow card, then pulled back the referee's shirt, got another one. So, I mean, seriously, if that's not, there's no bigger demonstration than that. So, but yeah, I mean, the other point is about the sort of way that he sort of strolls around in that languid way. I mean, he does look like he's not making much of an effort, but then when you look at the stats that say he's run more miles than any other Arsenal player in several games, you think, well, I didn't even notice it. But I think that's part of the problem, is that you're watching it on telly, the camera follows the ball, and he's making runs and you're not seeing them. But someone is adding up his stats and his kilometres per game, and he clearly is making an effort. So that surprised me a little bit. So you have to whether you love him or hate him, you can't say he's not making an effort if he's running more than anyone else.
Yeah, and he's always making himself available for a teammate. People love to play with him because he's always available.
Yeah, he's always in space. But I also agree about the way that if he cocks something up, he looks up at the sky and shouts and does that frustrated thing, because people use this example in any sport. When Tiger Woods misses and he smashes his clubs into the ground, it's not the right way to think. It's not the right attitude. You should just be able to laugh about it, pick yourself up, and then steel yourself and say, right, the next goal is going to go in, or the next tee is going to be perfect, or going to get a hole in one, whatever.
That's my biggest criticism of the guy, is like you're saying, he seems to take, if he messes up a pass or a shot or something, he takes it so personally. And it's like, don't worry, mate. If the game's still going, give it another 2-3 minutes. You might get another chance to do it. But that's what happens when he misses the initial one. That's when he has these games where he doesn't do anything, and then he feeds the people that can't stand him.
Yeah, and it's funny as well, because we were talking about Giroud earlier, and I saw an interview with him a few days ago, and he was saying that he was looking at other strikers that have that killer instinct, and they're just, almost like sharks, in the box. They're totally cold and there's no emotion. They just get in there and they just kill the ball, and that's it. And he said, I'm trying to be more like that. I'm trying to be less emotional. And that's what he means about the rolling on the floor that you were mentioning, James, is that if something doesn't come off, he doesn't roll around and throw his hands up in the air and go, oh my God, that was such an unbelievable miss. Did you see that? That kind of, attitude. He's trying to cut that out. And I think Özil should do the same, really. It's just, stop throwing your hands around and just get after the ball. Because when he loses it, he doesn't do what Sanchez does, Özil. He doesn't run after them and win it back. He throws his hands up in the air and goes, oh, what an idiot I am. But it isn't right. It isn't the right attitude, and that's the kind of thing that is going to piss people off.
Yeah, he just, physically and mentally, he surrenders for several minutes, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not the right attitude, but he does have those moments. But then 3 minutes later, he'll put in a fantastic assist. So he should be.
And you won't even see it coming. He's so subtle.
Yeah,
he's right. That guy. If you're sitting amongst a group of friends, you have that one guy who's very demonstrative. He's loud. He's boisterous. He's screaming, or not screaming, yelling, but everybody thinks, oh, he's the funny one. But what you don't realize is the other guy that's just sitting there very quiet for a while, but he says something. And in those 10 seconds, it's the funniest thing you've heard in the last 10 minutes from the blowhard, right? And that's Mesut Ozil. He will sit there almost like you don't know he's there, and then at the right time, he will do something brilliant.
Yeah, that's right.
Silence out of you guys. You must agree.
I will say yesterday as well, I know Judd's obviously not here and he's the expert, but I was really impressed with David Ospina again. I mean, Nolan, all right, he's not the player he once was, but he hit that volley first half and Ospina got down well. Brilliant save. Yeah, but he made a couple yesterday. And, I think we've talked about it beforehand. Mr. Szczesny on the bench with his hood up again, looking a bit sulky. He's really got to worry, I think, about his position now, because I really think Ospina's taken it by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
It's another Ospina.
But he didn't have much else to do, did he?
No.
No, he wasn't troubled that much. But Ospina, it's another clean sheet and it's another Ospina game. So, they keep mounting up, don't they? So you just can't make a case for putting Szczesny back in. And when he did play in the FA Cup, you had your token moment of sort of hiding behind the sofa with him, didn't you? When he sort of stopped that ball and dropped it.
Oh, he does his silly Cruyff turns,
it up.
yeah.
But no, there was a save, wasn't it? He made a save and he knocked it down.
Oh, yeah.
And it fell in front of him.
Yeah.
It fell in front of a United player or something, and he just managed to jump on top of it. But there's just you always get one sort of dodgy moment from him, and Ospina doesn't seem to have them.
No.
He's just very certain of what he's doing, very sure of himself. So yeah, it's not looking good for him getting back in, getting back into the frame. And if we get, obviously jumping the gun a bit, but if we got to the FA Cup final, there might be certain people that would prefer Ospina to come in, harsh as it might be on Szczesny, but, what would you rather do?
I think you stick with the cup keeper. I know it's not everybody's favourite thing to have a cup keeper. I think people go, well, you play your best 11 in everything if you need to win. But I think after last year, how he was so reliant on Fabianski, and Wenger even come out and said, well, he's the goalkeeper that's got me here, so I'm going to stick with him. If he chose Ospina over Szczesny in the final, hypothetically, I'd think that's a bit harsh, but I don't know if you agree with me or disagree with me.
Well, the thing is, it's harsh, but, if we're looking back on the final, saying that we lost it because of a stupid Szczesny moment of madness, not too dissimilar to the one in the Carling Cup final all those years ago, then we would say, no, well, for fuck's sake, wouldn't we just be cold and harsh about it and put the best keeper in, between the sticks? It's a difficult one. I'm always the one that says, look, the cup keeper gets you there, the cup keeper stays, but, not easy, is it?
No, it depends on the opposition and everything as well, really, for me.
Yeah, it certainly does. Anyway, let's have a quick look at some listeners' questions that have been tweeted to us. So the first one from Saeed Sarchi. Should Ramsey start next to Koch at Monaco? If so, who misses out, Santi or Özil? I'll throw that one over to you, Rick.
That is a tough one. He rested Santi, so we are going to presume that Santi is going to play. Ramsey's been playing well. Ozil's been playing well. Who do you sit? Maybe you don't sit either one. Maybe he does one of those things where he puts Özil out wide. I don't know. Who misses out? Or should Ramsey start? I'm not answering, am I? I'm waffling. I don't know what to say.
Not helping much.
No, not helping at all. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what, I'll throw it over to James. He's got an answer for fucking everything.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, no, you don't drop either of them. You play Özil out wide. You have Ospina in goal. You have Bella in right back. Mertesacker, Koscielny, Monreal left back. Coquelin and Ramsey together in the middle. Cazorla in his sort of deeper role, and then Sanchez on the right hand side, Özil on the left, and then Giroud or Welbeck up front. Because even though I think Giroud deserves a second chance at it, they're quite slow, Monaco, aren't they, at the back? So maybe Welbeck's pace, if you get the ball in behind, will unlock the door. But who knows? Who knows? I wouldn't mind either of them.
Has Sanchez played on the right yet this season?
I don't really know. They seem to be a bit like Barcelona in the fact that the sort of wingers in the midfield, like the front midfield, like the attacking midfield, they all sort of like interchange during the game, don't they? They're like, right, I'll go over here for a bit, you go over there. I think they just take it as it goes. Like, it depends on how the game's going, really. But Yeah, for me, you know, Chuck Sanchez on the right, Ozil on the left, but definitely put Ramsey in because I think they're gonna try and come at us a bit, and hopefully Ramsey can block it all off like he did in the City game with Coquelin as well. Them two were amazing.
They don't have to come at us though, do they? I mean,
no.
no.
We've played into their hands.
If it's a 0-0,
yeah,
they're through, so they can just park the bus, and
yeah.
it's something they've been doing quite well lately. Although I think they've just lost a game in the league, but they have, you know, in the Champions League they conceded one goal or whatever it is, 2 goals all campaign. So they will fancy their chances of just parking the bus and risking us maybe winning 1-0, which would still put them through. So I can't see them coming out as gung ho. That would be stupid.
Yeah.
But
well, you were right to throw that one to James. He gave you the full lineup, not just the midfield.
Yeah. I've got my team.
Yeah.
Next question from Gunner Down Under. If fully fit, do you believe Giroud good enough to fire us to the Premier League title? I'll try you again, Rick.
Easier this time. I'm going to say yes. Yes, he is good enough. Is he a great striker? No, but he's a very good striker. And with so few great strikers out there, I mean, we've seen people win cups with, you know, strikers that are not as good as Giroud. So obviously, I think with fit, is he good enough? Yes, I think he is.
And also, if you look at his stats at the moment, obviously he's out 3 months injured, but he's got more than 1 in 2 at the moment. So, you know, the amount of goals he's scoring, the amount of assists he's getting proves that he's good enough to win the title with us.
And I think if it hadn't been for that Monaco game, nobody would even be asking this question, would they?
No.
Exactly.
One game to make us question everything.
Everyone has a terrible game at some point.
Yeah, I'll just jump in, but only the goalkeeper, Coquelin, and I think it's Akpom, out of all the 25 selected for the Premier League, are the only ones who haven't scored this season. So for me, Giroud's good enough because he's getting the goals, but we've got other people that are firing on all cylinders as well. You know, we don't. I know some people say, oh, you've got to have a striker to rely on, but at the moment we've got goals coming in from Sanchez, you've got goals coming from Cazorla. All right, some of them mainly are penalties, but you've still got to tuck them away. So, you know, everybody's pipping in with goals. I mean, yesterday, Flamini, the commentator goes, oh, here comes Flamini to shore up the defence. The first thing he does is bomb forward, scores a little tap in, and he's got more goals this year than Falcao. So you can't moan at that, can
And
you?
he totally screwed up my over and under. Every time Flamini comes on, I have an over and under at the bar on how long it's going to take him to get a yellow card. I didn't start one for how long to get a goal.
56 seconds, that's the answer.
Yeah, I'd have lost that one.
56 seconds, and he scored more goals than Falcao, therefore, what did they pay for him? 50 million?
Yeah, he's tied with Balotelli as well, if you want to throw that in.
There you're on the money again.
Well, you know, what did we pay for Flamini? I think it was something like...
Nothing.
A bag of nuts, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, bag of peanuts, and he's doing better than Falcao, so, you know, Wenger in. Let's have a look at another question. This one is a little bit more complicated from Evil Genius 001. Gibbs is so injury prone. Should we look at a long-term left back as Monreal is getting to the wrong side of 39?
I think he means
29.
I think he meant 30 or 29 maybe, yeah.
Yeah, not 39 because if players are playing for Arsenal the wrong side of 39, then I'm signing up next week. No, that's I don't know. Monreal he's not sort of showing the signs of getting old, is he? But yeah. What do you reckon about that, Rick? Because Gibbs is a bit injury prone, but he has had a good season.
He has. He's very good when he plays. He is injury prone. Monreal, I can't even spit it out. Has been very solid.
You're thinking of Montreal.
Montreal, you're right.
Yeah. Carry on.
He has been very solid this season. When we were playing him at center back, I think I was shaking my head on why, but he played solidly. Is he on the wrong side for the age? I don't see it yet. He's never been that fast anyway, but I do think we need to start looking at another left back. I don't know that we have a young left back coming through right now. And if Monreal goes back to Spain and Gibbs continues to get injured, what are we going to do there? I really do think we need one.
Okay, well, fair enough. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Monreal is showing any signs of age. I mean,
no, it's nothing to panic about.
If you can slot away, cool as a cucumber, a goal against David De Gea like that, You know,
Took it like
I'm
Raoul,
sorry.
didn't he?
I don't care if you're 16 or 36. That's that shows you're good enough. And also, Monreal does have a little burst of pace over 10 yards. You know, it may be not burning down the wing like Theo Walcott, but if he has to get back for something, he does get back. So
I think what he's really good at doing is, and I did this when I played defense too, is getting into the hip of the guy running past him. I think he's using his position as an advantage to make himself look faster.
Yeah, it could be. But also if there's a 50-50 ball rolling about, you know, over 10 yards, he tends to beat people. He intercepts, you know, I've seen him, opposition people passing to their striker. He's standing behind the striker and he nips in front and gets there quicker than the striker. He's got a little, just over 5 or 10 yards. So I can't see any signs of age. If he's getting to the point where the boss started bringing him off after 80 minutes every game, then maybe, but I really don't think it's a problem. But yeah, you're right though, that I don't know of any left backs coming through, so it's got to be something.
Is it the one with the really posh name? Isn't it like Brandon Ormond Otterwheel or something?
Brandon Otterwell, I think. Yeah, is he a left back?
He's a young left back, isn't he? I think that's one.
Yeah.
But I know he was linked with that Tyrone Mings, was it, from Ipswich, who's a young lad. So maybe you do that. I mean, next year he's got Jenkinson coming back, who's a right back, obviously, but then he's got 4 right backs to choose from. And at the moment he's got three left backs if you want to class this Ormond Otterwell in as well. So maybe he'll go by one. I'm not particularly sure though, but hopefully Monreal stays because I think he's had a resurgence this season. I think he's been
definitely
on point, the best defender we've had this year.
He's been fantastic.
Next to Koscielny, I think he's been the best one.
The Brandon Ormond Otterwell, whatever his name is, I mean, he hasn't even started training with the first team yet, as he hasn't even got to that point.
I know of anyway.
He's not made a Carling Cup appearance. He's quite a long way off. But I suppose if you look at it in terms of numbers, I don't know exactly how old Monreal is, but if he's 30, then you can't expect to get more than 2 or 3 seasons out of him now. He's not going to be a left back at 34. I wouldn't have thought. So somebody has to be coming up behind him. And Gibbs is still relatively young, but if he gets injury prone, you need a backup for him. So at least in 2 seasons' time, you've got to have someone ready to go, haven't you? Ready to hit the ground running.
I mean, I've had a look at this Tyrone Mings because obviously he plays for Ipswich. It's quite near where I'm based, and he's a good player, but he's one of them as well where Wenger was sort of looking at him as a centre back option as well. So hopefully maybe he goes for a natural, left back. I know people have thrown out Fabio Coentrao from Real Madrid, but he's one of them where if you've got Monreal, if you've got Gibbs and you've got Coentrao, he won't come from Real Madrid to sit on our bench. And then obviously will that disrupt Gibbs and Monreal? I mean, competition's rife, but it's one of them where, are we going to pay that top dollar for someone that, if Gibbs or Monreal at the moment, who, for me, Monreal should be first choice over Gibbs personally. But if we sign this Coentrao, will he be willing to sit there on the bench and watch? I don't think he will. So maybe you'll go for a younger left back, or you never know. I mean, Bellerin sort of come through the academy system out of nowhere. So maybe this Ormond Otterwell, or there might be another one that we just totally don't know about. You just never know with Arsenal, do you? So just a waiting game, I guess. No,
that's true. That's true. I'm going to talk about Monaco in a minute, but let's just finish with the last listeners' questions tweeted to us at AFTV podcast. This one is from Arbnor_Salihi. Let's kick the elephant out of the room. Is Arsenal in the title race? Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Start with you, Rick.
No, I don't. Are we? Oh, sorry. Are we out of the race? Yeah, I think we are.
No, he said, "Are we in the race? Are we in the race?"
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a question. Geez. Yeah.
I pasted these things in and I can't even read them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's confused you is he said, "Let's kick the elephant
out of the room." Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm easily confused. Are we in the title race? No. Sorry, we're not.
Simple as that.
I don't believe we're going to make up. Even if Chelsea's dropping points, they still have a game in hand. They haven't lost very many games this season. I don't think we can catch them.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, James?
I don't think we've ever been in it, have we? I hate to burst people's bubbles, but
opening day, come on, everybody's in it.
I think personally the league's had Chelsea's name on it since the first ball rolled. But, it's 7 points. I've seen it happen. But for me, like you've said, Rick, they've got the game in hand. All right, today they weren't at the races. But I think their next fixture, who have they got next week? I don't know. Is it Hull City? I can't see Hull City doing us a favour. And
I couldn't see Burnley doing it either.
No, true.
Yeah.
You do never know, but no, for me, I can't see it happening. But the game at the Emirates will be a big game to, potentially we'll see. We'll just see, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's I understand why you're pessimistic, obviously, because we haven't won it for so long, and Chelsea looks so good, and they have done all season. But on the other side, I would say that they are in bad form at the moment. Kicked out of the Champions League, cocked it up this weekend. Maybe they might not get back, get a good run of games, of wins going again. Maybe they might have a stutter for the next 2 or 3 games, which could let everybody back into it. And also, you say they've got Hull next, but firstly, they've also got to play a lot of big teams before the end of the season. They've got Liverpool, they've Southampton, they've got us, and I think someone else, I can't remember. But also,
well, they don't have Champions League to play anymore.
No, well, that's true. They can focus on it,
Yeah.
But at the same time, you mentioned Hull, but Chelsea sometimes it is the lower teams that they do cock up against, because they turn up expecting to win, just expecting to roll them over just because they're Chelsea, and that's when they cock up sometimes. Last season, end of the season, it was the lower teams, the Crystal Palaces and people like that they cocked it up against, wasn't it? So you just never know. I mean, we would have to go on a great winning run. We're on one at the moment. If we beat Monaco, then maybe we can put one together on that confidence. If we get knocked out against Monaco, then maybe we're only focusing on the Premier League. So you just never know. But we would need a bit of luck. We'd need Chelsea to have
some of us
a
are still
little
in the
collapse.
FA Cup there, Jasper.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean,
I'll take second, but winning the league, I can't see happening. I can see us more likely catching City than winning the league, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
see that
they
happening.
they are dreadful. I mean, Vincent Kompany, I thought on his day is one of the best centre backs in the world, let alone Premier League. But yesterday, God knows what he was thinking. He's on a really, really bad run of form.
lost the plot, hasn't he?
And I think Pellegrini's a dead man walking as well, personally. I think
Well,
he's gone into the season.
we could come second, and without wanting to start up this whole debate again, if we came second and won an FA Cup, I'd take that as progress. I'd take that as a very good season. But anyway, moving on to Monaco. Can we achieve the impossible, Rick?
Can we? Sure we can. Am I expecting the impossible? No, unfortunately I'm not. I do think we'll win the game, but I don't know that we'll be able to make up the goal differential. Maybe we will. I don't know. But given what, Monaco knows what they have to do. So are they going to allow us to score 3 unanswered goals on them? I don't know. Can we get 1 or 2? Sure. But my expectations aren't high, but I'll remain positive. It's always possible.
Okay. I feel like we're in this same situation again that we've been in a lot the last few seasons, James, where we cocked up so badly, unexpectedly at some point in the Champions League, that we then have to go somewhere and score like a minimum of 5 goals or a minimum of 4 goals. And
then
we
come close to doing it.
Yeah, but it's typical of us that we score all the goals we need to, even though it's absolutely unheard of and no one expects it, except one.
Right.
It's just that one goal. It just seems to, we've got to score 5, so we score 4. We've got to score 3, so we score 2. It's just, it would be so typical of us to almost do it and then not do it.
I think for me, the first 15 minutes will be pivotal. And I can really see us winning 2-0. I think we could get the 2, think, all right, here we go. And then either we'll get sprung on a counter, or they'll just be like, do you know what, they've got the 2. We'll let them have that, but then we'll just shore it up, really, really shore it up, and kick lumps and hoof the ball away, and just try and stop everything. But for me, if we get 1 within the first 15-20 minutes, then I think it could be game on personally. But I don't know. I just don't know.
If you score 1 in the first 15 minutes, then you've basically got 75 minutes to score 2 goals, which is quite a long time.
Yeah.
On the face of it, at least. But then, like I said, if you're coming up against a team that know all they have to do is park the bus and they're through, it could be one of those games where we're basically camped in their half. We're kicking the ball around in that horseshoe shape, or the arc of frustration, as it's sometimes called in the Tuesday Club.
It's a good analysis. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great expression from Alan Davis. But yeah, I mean, it could be one of those, and then just trying to get through that dense, crowd of players and get anywhere near the box. It could be a nightmare. It could be a lot of very close one-touch play, and then in that situation, the time sort of seems to whiz by really quickly, and you might think, we've got 75 minutes, scored 2 goals, but then next thing you know, it's 70 minutes, and we've only got the one. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but yeah, who knows?
I think the momentum's on our side, and I think rolling from last Monday, that not a lot of people expected us to do that. And we did. So, like we've said, nothing is impossible. But I just think when it was 2-1 in the home leg, I was really like, okay, now let's shore this up. And then we ballsed it. There's no other way.
Absolutely.
There's no other way to put it. We ballsed it. So I do really think we'll probably win it 2-0, and then it'll be no close to goal. But hopefully we go through. I think if we do go through, the next round is probably when we'll get destroyed. But you just never know. You just never know.
So you're confident, but you're not.
I'm realistic.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got some optimism, but it's very, very minimal.
I think.
Sorry, YouTube listeners. Sorry to us. And Chelsea fans.
Yeah, they've got more Chelsea listeners now than Arsenal. It's fantastic. But no, I think you're right, Izzy. We're going into this with our tails up. We just had 2 good wins, and they. I think I saw someone briefly mention on Sky Sports that they just lost a game, so they may be coming into this with their confidence knocked. So yeah, as you say, you never know, but it's going to be a tough task. What's his name from Sky Sports thinks we can do it. Jeff Stelling, that's the one. I forgot his name from him. Yeah, he thinks we can do it. So, he knows his football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. There'll be a podcast after that game. So if you listen to this on YouTube, press the subscribe button, and you'll find out when it comes on. But I'll wrap it up there. So thanks very much, guys, and James. Say good night to our listener, please.
Good night, listener.
And Rick.
Good night, Adnan.
Nice one, guys. Thanks very much, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers.
1, 2, 3.